Welcome to the next video in the series on financial resources for small business. We will discuss human resources in relation to health and safety, communication, and employee record of employment, EI, and benefit programs. First and foremost, it is important to protect the health and safety of you, your employees, and visitors to your workplace. Be sure to wash hands often, keep in physical distance, offer employees the option to work remotely, stay at home as much as possible, and close non-essential businesses. Here's a checklist of items for your business to consider when forecasting cash flow and time management as it relates to human resources. What protective and preventative equipment and tools do you need to put in place to prevent the spread of infection? How often are you communicating with employees, customers, and suppliers? How are you monitoring and managing fear, anxiety, rumors, and misinformation? Do you have a policy in place for flexible work sites and hours? What are the costs of wages and group benefit plans to the company? It may be necessary to reduce benefit coverage or offer to the employee to take on a portion of the premium. You can also look into what programs are available for training and work sharing and decide if that is a cost-effective way to manage the business workforce. Many businesses have had to lay off a portion of, and in some cases, all of their staff. It is important as a business owner to be aware of and in compliance with the rules and regulations regarding issuing records of employment and facilitating the ability for the laid-off employees to claim EI and/or CERB. When completing the record of employment for an employee, please note the proper codes to use for the reason for issuing the ROE and avoid any comments in Block 18. This is important to alleviate any delays for the employee when submitting, registering, and making their EI claim. Here are some examples and the proper codes to use in Block 16, reason for issuing the record of employment. Your employee returned from an international trip and was quarantined for 2 weeks. The proper code to use is D for illness or injury. There is no specific ROE code for quarantine. Your employees are sent home because the business is temporarily closing. The proper code to use is A, shortage of work, end of contract, or season. You're going to have to close parts of your business because of COVID-19. If the termination is due to shortage of work, use code A, shortage of work. For employees who refuse to work due to risk of exposure to COVID-19, employers are recommended to use code N, leave of absence. With the abundance of ROEs being issued, some businesses are having difficulties issuing ROE online, and the website is kicking them out. Be patient, keep trying. It is important for the ROE to be filed. However, this does not stop the employee from taking the first step in filing for EI with Service Ontario. The claim will not be processed until the ROE is issued online, but at least the steps to initiate a claim from the employee has started and gets the ball rolling. It is important to note when to issue the ROE. You will need to issue a record of employment when an employee requests one and when an employee has had or is anticipated to have an interruption of earnings of 7 consecutive days or more. Reason for an interruption of earnings could include illness, self-quarantine, or shortage of work, and closing of the business. You can file an ROE with Service Canada either on paper or electronically. If you're filing on paper, you must give Part 1, the original of the ROE, to your employee. If you're filing electronically, the employee copy is no longer required, as they will have immediate access online via their My Service account. There are deadlines to be aware of when issuing an ROE. If you are issuing a paper ROE, You must issue it within 5 calendar days of the first interruption of earnings, or as soon as you are aware of the interruption of earnings. If you are issuing ROEs electronically, the deadline varies depending on your pay period frequency. If you have a pay period frequency that is weekly, bi-weekly, which is every 2 weeks, or semi-monthly, which is twice a month, your deadline is 5 calendar days after the end of the period in which the interruption occurs. If you pay your employees on a monthly pay period frequency, your deadline is the earlier of the following: 5 calendar days after the pay period in which the interruption occurs, or 15 calendar days after the beginning of the interruption. It is important not to get these deadlines and benefits mixed up with CERB, which is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. Let's discuss the differences between the two. EI, Employment Insurance, is administered by Service Canada and accessed through My Service account, while CERB, Canada Emergency Response Benefit, is managed by the Canada Revenue Agency and accessed through My account. Upon you issuing the ROE, your employee will apply and be claiming EI regular or sickness benefits, and they will continue their claim, so there's no need for them to apply for the CERB. If, however, their EI benefit ends before October 3rd, 2020, they can apply for the CERB if they are still unable to work. Employees may be unaware of this and ask you, the business owner, for guidance. There are special types of businesses, for example, hairdressers and barbers, where the workers may not be considered employees. Rather, they are self-employed and can claim EI because their earnings are deemed insurable through the EI premiums being paid by the business owner on their behalf. If they have already applied for EI and their application has not yet been processed, it will automatically be considered for the CERB now that it is up and running since April 6th. There's no need for them to reapply. Thank you for watching this video on human resources in the series of financial resources for small business videos. I encourage you to watch our other videos for more helpful tools and tips to manage your finances during this COVID-19 crisis.